happens, for having such a vast, numbers. Am I audible?
You are audible, sir. You're audible. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Now, sometimes what happens, I keep getting calls, so I've just connected this, to my laptop. So I'm based out at Bangalore, Karnataka state in India, and I'm a management professor. I teach for MBA students. When I got this invitation, I thought that let us make a presentation on. 1 second. Just give me 1 minute. I think the screen has stopped. Ravi, can you help me? Okay.
Yeah. It is visible, sir. Please go ahead.
Right. I did a research. Everyone knows that 3 years back we had this great pandemic which stuck across the world, including India. Okay, so there were a lot of research, there were a lot of studies, there were a lot of understanding, there were a lot of debates. Let us look at how people are working as far as their work from home is concerned. I'm a researcher. I have produced almost 20 PhDs, and to my credit, I have 2 PhDs and almost 200 research papers. So I thought that let me do a paper on to study a preparedness of IT employees quickly, because IT happens to be a great economy, at least for Bangalore, for India. So I thought that let me do a study on work from home post COVID. How was the reaction of the people? I also have my consultancy service, called a Center for Research in Human Resources and Higher Education, which we do a lot of, consultancy for PhD research paper writing, conference paper writing, guiding PhDs. I'm a vice president, for this company. I just have 4 agenda today. What is this research on work from home and the relevance context, why we wanted to do this, and the rigor context, how we actually did this. And what should be the future in case, I'm not saying that this should happen, in case pandemic like of situation comes in future, how companies and organizations have to get prepared. Everyone knows COVID-19 defined the way we started working, right? And almost I don't have statistics, but 90% everything went viral, everything went online, everything went virtually, right? So the norm was work from home. Entire workforce across India, across world started working from their home. Some could do it, some enjoyed it, some could not do it, and some never did it. Okay, work from home was a blessing for few people. Some could adjust, and some could not do it for various reasons, which in subsequent slides you can understand what happened. Some also enjoyed work from home. If you ask me, I was working in a management in a college here in Bangalore. Pandemic 3 years back, we started working in work from home. I in fact enjoyed working from home, not because you have a chance to stay in the home, but because you can connect across people, across world, which you can do by work from home or by virtual. So we thought that, I thought that, okay, from work from home, there is an opportunity to look at how work from home has influence on performance and productivity angle. Hence, I designed, the study to explore, the future, perspective. I just had only 3 goals: to investigate whether employees were prepared, from work from home, what was their experience as far as flexi work is concerned, and the satisfaction level of the employees working from home. A methodology that I followed is okay, fine, now how do I really connect then? Everyone is work from home, I can't go to the companies, I can't go to the organization, but I had a database of almost several of the companies across India and in Bangalore. So I sent mails to them with a questionnaire of say 20 different areas, a structured questionnaire. This was sent to IT employers across the country. It could be northwest, east, south. I also said that, hey, look, you will have 30 days, to participate here, because I can't have a long time because of their work schedule, or because a research should start and the research should end. So I gave 30 days, for people to participate out there. This is a quick, demographic, sample, and 100 sample, male and female, and age 18 to 25 were 25, and more than 35 years were age. Rural, semi, urban and urban, you can see out there on the screen. We also had people, who participated from training department, programmers, software engineer, team leader, project managers, and could be others, who were there in the company, which made another 24%. Now, what was the finding, of this research? The first finding was, let us look at what were their experience, before. So 53% said that, okay, they have never done, any employment, as far as work from home was concerned, either before, right? There were 15% who said, yeah, we used to do this, once in a month. And 8% said, again, somewhere, once in a month. And 5% said, somewhere fortnightly, 15 days once, we had the system of, work from home. And 14% said that, yeah, we did, twice, work from, home. There was also a mixed outcome, our finding, second finding was our, mixed, outcome. Yes, work from home was good, but we had a lot of, distraction, obviously, 77% people said that the connectivity was an issue, for them. Another 77% also said that, they got, good support, from their employers, working from, home. And a 67% said that their team, supported them, wherever they were sitting, across, India, as far as, work from home. What were their reactions? Okay, 78%, felt very easy, communicating with their team, online. Just have Google, have Microsoft Team, or have any of your, online, a way, model, and it was very easy for them. 47%, like I said, they had connectivity issue, internet, infrastructure issue. Probably, they didn't have a space, to sit. Maybe the background was not good, or the tables were, or the chairs were, or the people, sitting in the sitting room, or sitting in the dining, or sitting in the bed. All that was an issue. And 43 said that, there was, excessive, distraction at the workplace. Yeah, there were 28 percentage people said, yeah, we followed a schedule there, because our company wanted, us to follow a schedule. So we followed, a schedule. And 67% expressed excitement, about this. But they also said that, we want to go back to the work. We want to go back to the company. We want to go back to the organization, and work. This were the three, findings, that, we found as far as work from home was concerned. So what are we getting, out of this study? Why I wanted to do this study? This study was done basically for two reasons. One is, wanted to know, how comfortable the employees were there as far as, work from home was concerned. How was the productivity? How was the performance out there? How did, people like, flexi work, working from their home, as far as, IT employees were concerned. The lockdown experience, helped them to understand what is this work from home, and how it has got something to do with productivity, for employees. So my study says, to the management, in case, this situation happens tomorrow, or you shift, work from home or hybrid, way of working, orient people, towards work from home, mentor them, counsel them, coach them, how they have to, be at home and still have, greater productivity and greater performance. That was our first suggestion. Second suggestion was employees, particularly, women employees and young employees, who were there in rural areas. Okay. What happened, a lot of people come to the city, okay, to work. And during pandemic, since they had problem with stay, they had problem with food, they had, problem with, being in their rented houses. So they went back to their places. And most of the people, who stayed in rural areas, had this accessibility, as a problem, because of, rural being, less, in connectivity, less in connectivity. So the second suggestion, what we said was, okay, fine. Your employees who come from rural areas, it could be 1%, 2 or 10%. Management should prepare them, as far as, accessibility, is concerned. The third thing was, there was also a problem with data speed, obviously. Okay. So extra support for the bandwidth, by the employees, I mean, by the employers, for the employees, has to be another, way how you can look at as far as the employees, productivity is concerned. Now, employee satisfaction from work from home, work environment, obviously, when you sit in the office, your body language, would be something different when you sit, at your residence and have the same, office or the organization work. So HR policies have to address this. Okay, HR policies have to be, most of the companies today, have restructured, their HR policies, and they have dedicated, enough time, to tell what the HR policies have to be as far as, employees who are working from home is concerned. Obviously, my study had certain limitation out there. And first limitation is I didn't have any hypothesis. I just had an assumption saying that, yeah, people would have had a difficulty, working from home. So I didn't have a structured, hypothesis either to prove, not to prove, null hypothesis or alternative hypothesis. I didn't have this. Online data collection, probably, when you talk physically to the people, their body language, their reaction would give you a different perspective, how they would have managed, work from home. I could not do that only because, everyone was there at their, residence or their places. Neither management or, HR department, was involved in this. Yes, this is basically a reaction only from employees. I didn't check, how management was feeling or how HR, made an arrangement, as far as work from home is concerned. Obviously, 20 questions were there, 15, 16 questions were there. There are only few questions, which were put to test. Probably, you can have more questions to understand, more perspectives as far as home, work from home is concerned. Yeah, we didn't have open-ended question, obviously, because people have to spend time. So quickly, we wanted to have a response out there. So I didn't have any open-ended questions where they would have expressed their feelings working from home. I'll just take another 2 minutes. Like I said, I have 24 years of teaching, another research, coaching, training, consultancy. I also have postdoctoral research. Right now, I'm working with a corporate, 2 years and plus. I'm an HR professor, so I teach HR, HRM, international papers, recruitment and selection out there. Guided 16 PhDs, 11 MPhils, 150 research papers, almost 1,500 master projects out there. I'm also an examiner for several of the universities as far as PhD is concerned. I did my postdoctoral in 3-4 countries out there. Right now, I stay in a place called as Bangalore in Karnataka state. Since the time was 10 minutes, I think Ravi Kumar, I took 10 minutes in telling that, keynote address, what was the study and how employees had an issue. At the same time, some employees enjoy doing it, but overall, what management have to do as far as work from home format. Either it could be hybrid, or in case that is a work from home format, how management has to address this, because employees feel coming to the workplace should have a issue as far as safety is concerned. At the same time, organization have to prepare employers to be at work from home. So what is the responsibility of employees looking at out there, people working at the same time, productivity, performance and all. So this is the way we looked at this study. I'm sure that work from home is a good format. Say for example, if I would have not been virtually today, probably I would have not connected with Ravi Kumar or someone whom I'm seeing on the screen, Dr. Ilja, I'm seeing, and Dr. Bino, and all those distinguished professors who are there today on this conference.
Okay, good afternoon all. I am Dr. Elijah from Bharati Vidyapeeth, city of Pune, India. I work with my co-authors at Bharati Vidyapeeth and SP College Research Lab in medicinal plant for last few years. Now I am going to present one of our research project, which is related to medicinal plant, Ipomia, and this is isolation, identification, and quantification of a potential bioactive compound from stem bark of Ipomia carnia. It is well known that medicinal plants have been used for the treatment of human disease from ancient times. In ancient traditional medicinal system like Ayurveda or Unani or Siddha, many plants are used for the cure of disease. Plants not only used for the treatment of disease, but many plants have been used for the control of mosquitoes and various types of insects. Plants produce hundreds of chemical compounds in the form of secondary metabolites, and these secondary metabolites are responsible for various types of biological activities. Please have a look at this picture. I think most of you have been seeing this around your environment. This is Ipomia carnia, and also known as morning glory in English, as the flowers are blooming in morning. It is largely available in all tropical regions around the world, including India. Many Ipomia species are reported in Ayurveda having high medicinal properties. Ipomia species have larvicidal, antimicrobial, anti-cancer, antioxidant type of biological activities. Like other Ipomia species, Ipomia carnia also reported for few of such type of activities like larvicidal, antimicrobial, and skin disease. But all these activities, all these biological activities are concentrated on leaves and flowers. Only few reports are available about the stem bark of Ipomia carnia. As the leaves and flowers shows the biological activities, the stem also contains some biologically active compounds, and that draw our attention to stem bark. In present work, the stem bark extract was investigated for larvicidal activity against the Aedes mosquito and Culex, and the extract exhibited very good activities against the mosquito vectors. And among ethyl acetate, acetone, and methanol extract, acetone extract shows 100% motility against the mosquito vectors. So to get potent molecule, bioguided separation and isolation of the compounds from the stem bark of Ipomia carnia was performed. Now let me explain how I isolated a pure compound from the stem bark extract of Ipomia carnia and what type of activity it exhibited. The stem bark plant material was extracted with acetone for 6 hours, and the process was repeated for 3 times, and the solvent was recovered under reduced pressure. Crude acetone extract was obtained. That crude acetone extract was tested for larvicidal activities. As I have already mentioned that it exhibited very good activity against the mosquito vector Aedes and Culex. So I tried to find out the active compound which is responsible for this type of biological activity. To find out the biologically active compound, bioguided separation of the extract was carried out. For these column chromatographic methods, I have used the acetone extracts was broad fraction by column chromatographic method, and total 9 fractions were collected. I started from hexane solvent hexane, and gradually increased the polarity, and total 9 fractions A to I were collected, and these fractions were tested for larvicidal activities using the same mosquito vectors. And among these fractions, hexane fraction, 5% ethyl acetate hexane fraction, and acetone fraction of acetone extract and ethanol fractions exhibited very good activities. After removal of the solvent, the acetone fraction of acetone extract shows some powder compound. When TLC was performed, I got one major compound with little bit of impurities. So I tried to separate the pure compound from acetone extract. I tried the simple method, crystallization method. After repeated crystallization using methanol and hexane, I was able to find out a pure crystal compound. The purity of the compound, let the compound be X, compound X. The Purity of the compound was tested by TLC. TLC shows the single spot, which is the evidence of the purity of the compound. Again, I took GC. In GC, I got the single peak, which is the extra evidence of the purity of the compound. So once the purity of the compound was determined, the compound was analyzed by spectral method. This is the crucial and major part of this project. We tried to establish the structure of the compound. To establish the structure of the compound, spectral analysis of the compound was done. LCMS, IR, proton NMR, carbon 13 NMR, depth and COSY analysis were done. And the structure of the compound was found like this. The number of proton was calculated by proton NMR. Number of carbon were calculated by CMR. The nature of the carbon, whether it is CH3, CH2, tetrasubstituted, that was determined by depth. And the correlation between proton, that was determined by COSY. And the presence of functional group, what type of functional groups are present, that was determined IR. And presence of bromine, there are 2 bromine atoms. Presence of bromine, that is established by mass spectrum. Mass spectrum shows the characteristic isotope peak at 79 and 81, which is due to the presence of bromine. After analysis of all the spectral data, the structure was identified as propyl 5-bromo-4, 2-bromo, 3-methoxypropyl, 2-methyl benzoate. The compound shows sharp melting nature at 278 degrees Celsius, and the mass of the compound was 410 AMU. And this compound was isolated for the first time from the stem bark of Ipomea carnea. As the compound was isolated and structure was determined, the quantification of the compound was done, and interestingly, the pure compound was found to be 1/4 of the total extract. Now the time for the larvicidal activity of the pure compound. The pure compound was tested for larvicidal activity against the same mosquito vector, Culex and Ajax, and the activity tested at concentration 1000 to 10 ppm level. And these are the results of the larvicidal activity of the compound as well as the extract. And this is very interestingly, from the table we've seen that the acetone extract shows the 100% motility against the both mosquito species at 500 ppm level, but the pure compound exhibited 100% mosquito larvicidal activity against the both mosquito species at only 50 ppm level. The pure compound was found to be active as low as 10 ppm level. So the compound is very active against the mosquito larva. If we consider the lethal concentration, the LC50 value for the compound is very low, it is only 23. So it also established the activity, high activity of the pure compound, which was isolated from the stem bark of the compound of the extract. Compound X was more active than crude extract and its acetone fraction. The active component of the extract might weaken the cuticle defense system of larva, causing easy penetration of pathogenic molecule in the insect biosystem. And this may be the reason of the activity of the extract as well as the pure compound. Now we see the outcome of our work. A novel natural dibrominated aromatic compound was isolated and identified from Ipomea carnea stem bark for the first time and quantified. The compound was identified as propyl 5-bromo-4, 2-bromo, 4-methoxypropyl 2-methyl benzoate. It exhibited significant chronic mosquito larva toxicities against the mosquito vector, Ajax and Culex. The isolated compound as well as extract were highly effective at lower concentration against the mosquitoes. This compound has the potential to be developed as eco-friendly and target-specific agent for mosquito control and offers an alternative to synthetic pesticides. Thank you.
So my name is Mary Baghwar, and I'm a PhD doctoral researcher from lovely Professional University, Punjab. And the topic that you can see here is I have just taken a small portion from the whole of my research. That's a very small portion to present to you all. And So the topic is, has humanity systematically set about sabotaging the natural world it claims to enshrine? The first sentence itself, it shows the question, because it's a huge question mark, that people seeking for a better future, or we see, or we anticipate, we interpret a better future ahead, but what are we doing, that is human species doing here? So I'm unpacking the oxymoron, that is kindness and cruelty, in George Saunders' dark comic animal fable Fox 8. So when we see animal fable, or kind of the word fable itself, it identifies that, or we get an assumption that it might be a children, for the children, it's meant for the children, and it might be kind of a bedtime story, or it might be just limited for the kids. But no, this is actually a book. Let me show you. This is a very small, short, very cute little book. And after seeing this book, as it's always said that don't judge a book by its cover. So this book, usually, the one who first time sees the book, they might feel that this book might be limited for the kids, but not. This actually, George Saunders, he is a short story writer, and has attempted one novel at the very end, but he is a short story writer, sorry. He is a short story writer for the children, and which is actually, when the critics or the readers like us, when we read his works, we understand that it is not actually limited only for the kids. Because here in this, because I told you, from the whole research, I have taken a very small portion, that is, the book's name is Fox 8. That is one of the, he is one of the characteristics in the book. And he he showcases, or Saunders is bringing the brutal, cruel society to the world, or he's enlightening, he's emphasizing. Now in which progress, or how, or when, and what is that norm, or what is that notion, what is that societal norm, we will come to know through the further slides. I'm going to do the introduction, and very briefly, and before we go to the topic, obviously we should know the author and the other objectives, and how the work is connected with this, the research connected with this book. And I'm going to connect how Saunders is actually getting inside, or he's entering directly to the minds of the readers. So this paper intends to dredge into sad reality of the two different worlds. And the two different worlds are, one is human world, and second is the world of animals, or let's say unspeakable. So by the end of the research, that is, by the end of the reading, if I say in simple terms, after reading this whole book, you will find time to examine, and you will find yourself accepting, or let's say acknowledging, that yes, this is truth, that this is happening in the society. I am not yet coming to the point, because there are I can show you the other slides, which will be very clear what I'm going to talk about the human world and the animals world, how both the oxymoron plays a vital role, that is kindness and cruelty. Yes, obviously, when we have dark, we have light. When we have sun, we have moon. Okay, so this is how George Saunders, actually Fox 8, the character in this story, he talks to us. He is getting connected to us on behalf of George Saunders. Actually, Saunders is, if I talk about the author, he is the interesting thing is, he is still today he is a college professor at Syracuse University in US, and the collection of short stories are his collection of short stories, that anthology, is extremely powerful and a serious thing to think about. George Saunders is an American short story writer. He also writes essays, novellas, and books for children. And in 2017, he has attempted for his debut novel, Lincoln in the Bardo. I suppose many of you have gone through this, or you have heard this name, because it is not completely a fiction. It's an amalgamation of fiction and non-fiction. It is about Abraham Lincoln, and how beautifully he has portrayed the life of the crisis in US. Okay, so here, this book, why I'm mentioning more about this book, because this book has won the Man Booker Prize and he is other notable works he has and notable awards that he has got. So people usually say, if you want to know George Saunders, if you want to talk about this author, you need to read his books, you need to know the works of Saunders, because he is in the book, he is in his writings, he is in the dialogues, he is in the sentences that we have we see in the works, in his works. So in this Fox 8, through Fox 8, he's trying to talk. Fox 8 means the character's name. He's trying to talk to us. He's trying to reach towards the reach out to the readers, to the critics, to the scholars, to the every individual under the sun, especially the kids, because the kids, the children are known the future of the world, right? So when they grow up, they have to, at least once in a while or once in their life, they have to go through this book, because it gives a very, I won't say it's a moral story or it's a lesson based story, but it's it's something truth, which is not only the truth, but it is a bitter truth. So I'll just emphasize the last point that I have given here. The stories he invents is quite uncooperative. The reader at first, like, we feel like, oh, this story is like, his works are quite annoying, his works are quite bold, it's completely hitting the sentiments of the audience or the readers. But the reader at the first discovers the story somewhat bizarre, and I told you in the beginning, it's very weird and unusual, but the concepts he brings to light is so true and undeniable. At the end of the day, when you go back to bed, you'll acknowledge with Saunders, and you will surely say that yes, he was true, he was true. Okay, and the truth that he brings out is very brutal, cruel. These are his notable works, and I told you these are the works that I'm doing research on. And the highlighted one in green, that is Fox 8, which was published in 2018. This is the book, and he has, openly and deliberately is getting connected to the audience and to the readers. So these are the books which will tell you about Saunders. So Saunders is all in his works. His objective, let's come back to the main research topic here. Now, his objective in the story Fox 8, why Saunders has given this name Fox 8, or why he has written this, there is an objective of this author. So if I to mention this first line, it's an alarm, like it's a warning, it's an alarm for an individual, that is each and everybody here present here and under the sun, for an individual to examine the brutal truth of lives between a man and an animal. So in these slides, you'll be seeing a little errors in spellings and little bit, that is not actually a typo. Don't be confused. These are the words coming from Fox 8. The fox is talking. So that is why when a fox talks, like fables and short stories of children, how they are, they are like Cinderella, they are like Little Red Riding Hood, they are like fairy tales where stone can talk, where dolls can talk, where animals can talk. So that's why I told you we cannot judge a book by its cover, because here this fox, the animal fox, is trying to talk to us and bringing the truth to light, actually, on behalf of George Saunders. So Fox 8 is a curious asset. This line I have taken directly from the book itself. It says that this is an asset and a kind of daydreamer. A reader in the beginning might be awestruck by an animal being able to speak. Okay, so I'll tell you in a very nutshell that how an animal, this Fox 8, is being able to speak, but not all the animals in the story, in this fable, because let me get into the story now. This animal, Fox 8, when he was passing through, and one day, one evening, night, that was, it was quite night, and outside the window, he could hear some human voice, and this, the human voice, that is a mother, maybe telling the bedtime stories to their children and making them sleep calm and sound. So when he was very, keen, he was a keen observant, so he wanted to listen to those stories. But after listening to the stories, see the last second line I have written here, the irony, the bedtime stories and fairy tales for children. So there is an irony in this story, which I'll be discussing further. So after listening to the story, the Fox 8, that is Fox, he got very disappointed. He was astonished. just because in that story, when a mother is narrating a story to their children to make them sleep, and it is a bedtime story. So in that story, it is, and all of us would agree here, because even from the very beginning we have been told that the foxes are they are sly animal. They cheat the other animals. They are cunning. They are harmful. So animals are based and they are portrayed in the books in this way. But here Fox 8 claims that no, we aren't like that. In fact, I have seen the human beings being very cruel to us. And in which way they are cruel? Sometimes whenever they see a animal like fox 8, or sorry, fox or dog or rabbit or cat, wherever, they sometimes stone, means they throw a stone on it to shoo them away. Okay, they beat with their some kind of hard objects, or some um, if they're working with something, they, for example, a spade. In this story, the workers were working with the spade, and they threw the spade on that fox without even having any harm towards them. So without thinking properly, without thinking twice, without having any examination, they simply react without an action. I'm telling you, because every action has a reaction, but if there is no action, the human beings still react. That is what Fox is trying to tell us. And Joe Saunders obviously wants to open our eyes, and he wants every readers to read this book, to bring out the cruelty of the society. This is not the end here. There are various other things that I would like to discuss. That is, this story is a path to the brutal truth, a route to the brutal truth, which might be very weird or very unexpected, or let's say sad to accept it, but it is the truth. This particular story, Fox 8, is a path that lightens the truth for humans to witness their deeds, obviously our deeds. But what is the important thing that we are missing is ignorance. Human beings are ignorant. Voluntarily or involuntarily, they react. They put forward these kinds of actions. A story of deforestation and the mindset of the Fox 8, the last second point. Now, if I tell you the story of deforestation, one day Fox was, enjoying, and lavishly he was having his, what do you say, taking his life, and he thought that life is so easy for them. But one day he saw kind of smoke, a kind of flame, spark, and finally a wide spread of fire in the jungle. So the Fox 8 was so confused. And let me pause here. Let me go back. I told you the Fox 8 can speak, not the other foxes or other animals, because he can speak because he has been learning this through the bedtime stories of that mother narrating to the children. Okay, so this was very easy for us to know, that fox can speak to us. All right, so when he was seeing this fire and flame coming up, and widespread of fire in the jungle, and the forest, the trees were collapsing, it was just drooping down. He thought, what is happening to the trees? See how innocent the fox is. And we are told that fox is a sly, fox is a very cunning animal, though we accept it because of the stories that we have heard from the very beginning, from the childhood, and in the primary education also, we have learned this, a little Red Riding Hood. So here there is a story of deforestation which fox doesn't know. What is this deforestation? So they are simply cleaning off the forest to just construct some malls and parks for the amusement. So this fox says that, the animal says that, this is deforestation, or this is for their benefit, but for us it is a destruction of their shelter. For us it's a destruction of our shelter. We have no shelter, we have no place to live. What if their houses were burnt? What if their houses were collapsed? Or what if human houses were put down? So even that is, as the houses are shelter for us, even the jungles are shelter for the animals. So this is how there is very small examples that Saunders has used to portray the brutal truth in the society. So Fox 8, not only this much, but he has also witnessed his friend Fox 7. There is one more fox named as Fox 7, and he is being tortured and brutally killed. And after killing, they they play with the dead body, that is a dead fox 7, and they means the human beings, of course. The human beings, they flung over to the sky and throw the fox away. So this is how people treat the other species, because because they cannot speak, they are unspeakable. So they cannot speak, they cannot they have no right to anything. They have no right except right to life, but but that right to life also they don't get. So this is how fox 8 is portrayed. Now here comes the irony, as I mentioned in the very previous slide. I'll talk about the irony, and it's a very interesting thing which everybody should know here, that in the book, that bedtime story, in the book it was written that yes, this fox, they are very sly and they are very cunning and they cheat the other chickens and hen. And what they do is they steal the eggs from the hen, and they sometimes they eat up the whole chicken, the whole egg. So they are so cunning and they are so sly. So this is where he gets, that is he, I'm openly using he because in here it is, the gender is mentioned. Fox is a he here, okay. So the male figure out here. So what he says, see this second, I want you all to focus on this second point. Sorry, the second point. I had heard many stories at that window, but never had I heard a story in which anything like what happened to poor Fox 7 happened. So in the first line itself, it is written that I'm a fox here. So I'll just make sure I read this first line. He says that, first may I say sorry for any words I spell wrong. So there is a spelling wrongs here. HERD, herd, STORYS, stories, PORE, poor. Okay, so he already said that. This is how brilliantly Saunders is bringing out that Fox is talking here. Fox is writing this story. First, may I say sorry for any words I spell wrong, because I'm a fox. So in this first line itself, we come to know that the fox is writing the story, and obviously there will be some spelling mistakes. They are not human beings that can be learned like us with no grammar errors. So here in the what he said, that whenever I heard in the window, from the window, that human beings are so good, bears are so good, rabbits are very cute, but foxes are very cunning and sly. So he said that I never heard this kind of story where people coming over the jungles and burning of the burning of the jungles and forest, people coming and destroying the shelter to provide their own, so that there should be benefit of their own. And I have never heard in the stories that human beings also steal the eggs of the hens, and human beings also eat chicken. So this is an irony. Why only fox is blamed here? It's not actually blamed. It's like how, it's like a the universal truth that we have been hearing from the very childhood onwards, and from the primary classes also, that in Little Red Riding Hood also, the animals are portrayed in a very harmful characteristic. But here there is an irony where fox is questioning that, are you not questioning us? Are you not taking eggs from the hens? Are you not taking the chicken to cook and to have a lavish dinner or lunch in your house? So this is a huge question mark that actually not fox but Saunders is portraying to us. So in the last line also, I would like to, I have bolded that word ashamed. Saunders wants his readers to feel ashamed of what humans do to other creatures, especially how they treat animals. So this is how I have given a picture to for us everybody to imagine, and to have a picture in our mind that how he used to listen to the stories, bedtime stories, from outside the window, and how he learned speaking. And this is how brilliantly how intellectually Saunders has brought up, because Fox knew how to speak, so he can speak to us. So this is indirectly his getting into the readers or approaching his readers. Review of literature, I have done many, but I have just brought two or three.
Very sorry for interrupting.
Yes,
it's
sir.
been almost 15 minutes. We have
Okay.
like 30
I will conclude then. Yes. So
I
in review,
understand it's a very good presentation. We are interested in listening.
okay.
Good stories though.
Okay.
Sorry for interrupting.
Oh, no problem, sir. So, shall I conclude it in 2 minutes, maybe?
Please conclude.
Yes, I'll conclude it. So in review of literature, Alex Preston in this, he says that in the last line, if you see, if you want your stories to end happy, try being nicer. So he has taken this line actually from the fox's story, saying that if human beings usually want to, they like to be happy, and they like their stories to end happy, but only if you can be happy if you are trying to be nicer towards the others. So this is a story that predicts that fox says no to life. I don't want this kind of life. And this is the last letter that fox is writing. This is the last slide. So the fox is writing to the humans, and he pronounces as humans because he's a fox. So it's trying to write to a letter that, dear reader, if you can see the picture, he says that, dear reader, what wrong have we done? What wrong have we done that you treat us in this way? So if you want your stories to, your life or stories to end properly, so you need to be nicer to us also. So thank you for giving this opportunity, and I